Welcome back, Langchain enthusiasts, ChatGPT automators, and Python automators to Insight Builder channel. This video is about maximizing LLM's potential, analyzing and answering questions from files. And this is powered by Langchain. What is the concept? Langchain has lots of modules, and among those modules we are going to use the modules called as chains, and the chains contains various methods of load summarize chain, analyze document chain, load QA chain, load QA with sources chain, graph QA chain, and chat vector DB chain. All these kinds of chain do multiple activities with the file that you provide. That is, it takes the data that you provide and it does provide you an ability to do question and answering with that data. It helps you to summarize and analyze the data by load summarizing. It creates the graph, the knowledge graph, and it also helps you to chat with respect to the data that is already provided. Chat vector DB chain will be taken in a separate video because it is much more it requires additional attention. Among these chains, there are couple of types of modifications that we can do, and that is called as stuff chain, map reduce chain, and refine chain. How this is going to be used as parameters inside these methods will be shown in the example. A particular slide shows you the steps to take. So we take the file, we read it into Python execution environment, we split the data again using the methods that is provided by Langchain. Then we create embedding with the data. For this we need the LLMs. We need to take the embedding from the LLMs through their API. And then we write those embedding vectors into the vector DB. There are various providers for vector DB. We will be using ChromaDB, which uses DuckDB, that is transient vector DB that we can use directly. We don't need to install anything. We have to just do a pip install. It will automatically create the vector DB. And from there, we start using those vectors to answer. And that is when all these methods come into picture. The main point of this video is, as I always say, is to practice. So the example will be given as a Google Colab notebook. I'll be showing in a second, and you can practice it there by taking the notebook that I share in the link. The actual notebook will be shared in GitHub. You can take that notebook and open it in Colab. So let us go to the Colab notebook. Before that, I'm confident that you will like this video. Do like it and subscribe for this channel. Once you subscribe, you will get the update on the your YouTube dashboard whenever I upload new videos, whether it is on Langchain or on my other channel videos. And share this video to others who are interested in learning about prompt engineering as well as working with Langchain and improving their activity with large language models. With this, let us go to the Internet Explorer, and where you will be seeing this particular file that we will be working on. So this is the file that we'll be working on. Let me zoom in a bit so that it will be easier for you to view. Yeah, that will be better. Before we go to this file, you may not, if you are new to this channel altogether or to Langchain with this video, you can go to my channel and take a look at the playlists there. Among the playlists, you will find there is a separate playlist about learn about Langchain, learn about AI model, language model, and in that I explain everything. From here I start explaining about the how the Langchain is getting the Langchain prompt factory. From this particular video, you will be able to get a lot of information about this particular library, and also how to work with it also I am sharing here. Apart from that, I have also other videos which explain how to work with ChatGPT and Python and automate it. So you can take a look at these videos to get up to speed. So, and if you are new to Python also, there is a video which you can use to learn Python at a very rapid pace. You need to have just only 5 hours. So all these things are going on in Langchain. and ChatGPT and large language models. So let us go to the how-to guides. There is actually how-to guides that is provided by Langchain team itself. You can visit the how-to guides at this link. I will be sharing this link in the video also. If you come to the how-to guides, you will actually here you will find that there is chains. One of the just let me zoom in. There is, if you go here, you will see chains here. This is also a sub module, and under this there are many other chains. There is generic chains, and there is utility chains. I am not going to touch this. What I am going to touch is I am going to work on the indexes basically. What happens is in indexes, once you get the inside the indexes, you will have lots of ways to get the data stored as embeddings. Okay, you can take a look at this area. But as you come down, after you store the data, after you store the file data, then you can use that data and start giving the question answers, graph QA, graph question answering, analyzing the document, summarizing the document, etc. This also has chains inside them. So if I click, for an example, question answering, which is much more relevant to us, what we are doing today, you will understand that inside that also we will start, okay, initially we will have some examples, but the player are the QA chain, load underscore QA chain. So you see that they are getting loaded from the chains module. So from here, when you come here and take a look at this, entire documentation, you will actually, I was initially extremely confused that what are these many chains, different chains are there. These chains work in a different way. Okay, so for an example, if you go to API chain, this API chain interfaces the APIs out there with the large language model. So this is also coming from the chains only, but this is not working from the API. This is not directly working with the files. This is directly working with the APIs. So I will be taking up a separate video on this. And also, if you need some hands-on information, you can take a look at this video. So I have touched some of the API chains here. Now, with that confusion, sorted out, so there are lots of other chains also will be coming into picture in later. So stay tuned for that. Once you understand these things, it is way more easier to not only work with ChatGPT or OpenAI models. You can work with huge number of language models out there. Actually, I think it is there. I've shared in the other video where I talk about the various results, various language model providers out there. So there are lots of. I think here it's not there. Anyway, so you can take a look at this video. Look at this video for more understanding. That will also help and save time in this video. Let me go to the. Let me close it and let me start the discussion now. First and foremost, you have to install all these dependencies. So if you are new to Colab, just press the play button and it will install the this particular set of all these are required. ChromaDB especially. ChromaDB is the database that we'll be using. All these are required. Just press play and it will install. In my case, it's already installed. And you have to, this is actually not required. You can remove this, it's not required. But here the config parser I'm using so that I can safeguard my API keys. I have various API keys and my API keys are inside the config parser. When you are practicing, so as I was insisting that the entire intention of sharing this Google Colab note and the GitHub link is that you can practice, right? So when you are practicing, what you can do is you don't need to use config parser, etc. You can directly put the OpenAI key here. Okay. And in order to get the OpenAI key, you have to go to platform.openai.com. So if you go to platform.openai.com, there you can actually use your email ID, phone number and register. And then from there you can go to view API keys and there you can get the API keys. Okay. That is how you start working on the getting the API keys. These rest of the API keys you don't need to worry about right now. So I am working on other APIs also, so I have held it here. The library, the methods or functions, the classes that you are going to load are vector DB QA, OpenAI, CSV loader. So we will be loading CSV file. Okay, you can load any. There are also almost 27, 25, more than 25 loaders, types of different file loaders. All the file loaders will actually load the file, and after that it has to be converted into indexes. Okay, this is the beauty of it. So that is why I'm not talking about the file loaders here. Okay, you can find a lot of information about file loaders in the documentation. After you load the file, any kind of file you load it, once it comes into the Python environment, the Langchain environment or the Python execution environment, then you start creating indexes. So that is what I'm going to do right now. So in my case, I have the file. This file also will be shared in the GitHub repo. Let me also show the GitHub repo how to access that in a moment. That will be easier. So it is in this particular link. This link will be shared in the video description in the below, and you can go to code and script, go into projects, and in this area in chat NBS, or I'll be creating one more Langchain exploration folder, and in that folder you will get the data. I'll be giving you the full full path of the data. This particular data, let us go back to the discussion. This particular data, if you double click here, you can see the data here. So this data is just a minute, this is the data. So it has lots of columns here. Okay, and I am only taking just 12 rows. It has lots of rows actually. The original file has almost 9,000 rows. Since I am showcasing how it works, I am taking a lesser number of rows. You can, if you want, you can load the entire file also, but be careful that whatever files you are loading, right, after that, okay, let me actually go through the steps. You will understand. This particular command will actually speed up your process. Okay, vector store index creator will do another 5 steps I will be explaining now. All these things will be done by single command, this command. So I don't want to do this. Okay, I'm just showing you that this is possible. So if you use this command, vector store index creator dot from loaders, and if you take the file space, so this is the file space that I have created using the CSV loader. It is all these are all completely abstracted methods and classes. Okay, this is how Python works. Inside these, each and every class, and see, this is actually a class basically. So this creates a file object, okay, CSV object, and this object has its own methods. Okay, understanding Python as methods and classes and objects is very important as we start moving into the level of abstraction the world is going through. Okay, so take a look at my playlist. I have a separate video on that also, where I discuss the Python environment also. Just a minute, let me, if you go to my playlist, if you visit my channel, inside the playlist you will also see that you can check the, just a minute, let me show the videos also. So inside the playlist, you will be able to see the Python playlist also that I have created, Mastering the Python Ecosystem and Learn Data Engineering and Problem Solving. This is a Python course that is geared towards data engineering, but first 10 to 12 videos are primarily towards Python mastering only. Okay, so especially mastering Python classes, if you take a look, you will get a fair idea on how to look at this ecosystem. So this is what I am telling, that it will be easier to understand these things. Okay, you might think, okay, how this can be possible that we just give a CSV loader and the file gets loaded? Will there not be any challenge? The environment has been created in such a way that yes, it will, even if there are challenges, the Python program underneath this method will take care of it, will take care of the errors and try to load the file as better as possible. So that is how the code has been written. Let us go further. So here I am not going to execute this. Now once I execute these queries, I can start querying, but I'm not going to do that. So let me go to the step-by-step process. So first and foremost, I have loaded the file here. Okay. The next is I am going to use character text splitter. This is also I am importing from Langchain.text splitter, and then I am splitting the file into 1000 characters and no overlap. And then I am loading this text splitter on the document. I am splitting the document here. So what happens is, if I take a look at this text file, if I say length texts, you will see that it is a list basically. So it has it is having only one particular there is only one element. However, what will happen is this internal to that element there are other. So let me actually show you. So what the way to look at it is little different. So let me print it and let me show you how it is. Print. Okay, so when we print it, it is actually it is showing a single file here. Okay, the this file that we saw, let me double click that. This file that we saw a moment ago, this entire file has been converted into a single element inside a list once we split the document. Okay, this all did by this particular command. What we are going to do next is what is going to change this. So we are going to call open Langchain.embeddings. Inside that module we have OpenAI embeddings. We need to know, so these are all modules under Langchain the library. These are embeddings module. Inside the embeddings module we have OpenAI embedding class. I have to just call it. And it will be assigned to this particular variable. Okay, and ensure that you remove this. You have to execute this command so that there is this particular folder should not be there in your local environment. This will create the embedding, and then what will happen is, by using the vector stores. So again there is a separate module called as vector stores. In vector stores there is Chroma. So Chroma is a class which can convert the documents. So this document that you see here, this is actually considered as documents. That will convert that document into OpenAI embeddings. So this is the process. Okay, once we do all these things, then we can start querying. So I have done all those things. I have created the database. Okay, database or the vector database. I have given just the name DB, and then I can start calling the query on the database directly. Okay, I have already created the fact LLM, the object here. So by using OpenAI that I imported here, I have created this fact LLM, and this particular OpenAI also has lots of options. So if I just do a comma here, you see that I can change a lot of things. So for an example, I can change the model name. By default, the model name is text DaVinci 00, text -DaVinci -003, and the temperature is 0.07. This is 0.7. The max tokens is the output token. The max output token is 256. You can change that also. The frequency penalty, all these things can be modified. And how you can modify it? By giving the value. So if I say model, if I type model here, it will automatically populate. So just give a second. What it will do is it will start showing us the options like this in Google Colab especially. So if I take model name and if I say text DaVinci 002, then it will change the model name automatically. So you can do that, and you can experiment it also. I will just save this code and you can experiment it by yourself. I am using that fact LLM, and I am going to query what passenger details are available in the dataset. This is the query I am giving, and I am going to run this query, and you see that it starts giving me the column names. Okay, now the question is, what passenger details are available? How did I have nowhere told that, okay, give me the column names. You see that, right? But the query returns the column names because it is actually the passenger details, right, from the dataset. So now, the way we query it also, there is one more way. What happens is we can check the inside the dataset before we write any query. We can check the similarity of our query with the dataset. So if I execute this command db dot similarity search, if I execute this, and you will see that all the all the the query is what is the money spent on room service. Okay, so I have room service, I have money, etc. What it will do, everything related to room service, it will come up. Okay, so it will start showing. And same way in case of VR deck, how much money spent on VR deck. Again, here I am giving how much number of documents should be returned. So I am getting 10 documents. So if I scroll down, you will see that I am having 10 documents here. So you can count it also. You will see there are 10 documents, 10 list of documents basically. So this is how you start querying. Okay. So again, we started with the file. Where is the file? We started with the file here. Here is the file. We started with that. We created the splittings of the file using like this, and then we went to OpenAI embeddings, and then we created the vector store, and then we started querying. Okay, this is where we are right now. Now we are going to actually start going into the various types of chains available. Okay, first and foremost chain, there are two different ways of using the chains. Okay, one is using the vector DB QA. Vector DB QA is basically vector database question answer. This is what the full form is. Okay, the if you scroll up, we started already using that. Where it is, just yeah, we have already started using that. If you see this particular class here, object here, this is vector DB QA. So this is not going to return the sources. So if I use this particular I should give the fact LLM, I should give the chain type, this stuff, and vector DB. So if I give all these things, then I will get the feedback. Okay, just a minute. Let us go back to the presentation. I informed there are three types of chains, right? So stuff, map, reduce, and refine. So let us go back to the collab. This is where we change it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a different query. Okay. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, why not? Copy this and then create a new code. You can also do this. Okay, and then instead of stuff, you say map reduce. Let us see how the output comes. Okay, after you change this, yeah, you have to change the variable name here. Okay, I am saying QMR, and I'm going to send the same query. So the same query I have run here, I'm going to run the same thing. Okay, and I am saying QA underscore MR run, and I'm going to give the query, and I am asking what are the passenger details available. So whenever there is an error, so if such an error comes, got unsupported chain type, map reduce should be one of the dict. It is saying that it has to be stuff, map reduce, refine, map rerank. What is the mistake I have made? I have made the hyphen here. It should be underscore. Okay, so make it changed. That is the reason why I ran it. So you will see how the difference comes into picture. When you type, especially when you type, right, you will make a lot of mistakes, and it's good because you will learn. Only by typing you will learn. You saw here that in the previous one, it just gave the answer. Okay, it did not give me any kind of data, but here it is telling the available passenger details in the data set are. So it is giving me a complete line. So this is how each and every chain type gives a different form of reply. So you have to experiment this. This is how I showed you, right? These Langchain ecosystem itself is about experimenting, programming, automating. That is the main intention of this library itself. So take a look at this library, install it, and start practicing. You will find a lot of different ways to work with it. Okay, and go through each and every method like I'm explaining, right? You have to take it on your own laptop or in your own desktop and start executing these commands. It will not take a lot of time. Okay, with Google Collaboratory and getting the file imported, it should be much easier. So you have to just click on this file, and if you say import upload node, if you say upload notebook or open notebook, then it will automatically get you the file that you have, this particular Jupyter notebook file. Oh, this is Jupyter notebook file. So if you are new to Jupyter notebooks and Python as a whole, then again please refer to my earlier playlist that I showed you here, that has a particular video on Jupyter notebooks also. So you will get some good idea on that. here I am actually experimenting with further queries, but here I am actually asking dbqa with sources. So the same thing, but this will show me the source from where it is coming. So the source is from here. So the source is from here. So it is under content. So let me actually copy the path and let me show you the content. That will be easier. So if I go to the text file and if I paste right now, so you see this content start on file. This is the actual path, from which the file is loaded. So this is giving the source also. That is the difference basically. And in bigger files, in file that is having a lot of data, it will also give the document details also. So you can actually modify that. This is all till now whatever I was explaining is from vector dbqa with sources chain and vector dbqa. So if I go up, you'll see the module vector dbqa that I have imported here. This is the first import that I have done, right? Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a different route. Instead of using vector dbqa, I'm going to import inside the chains module. There are different modules called as question answering, summarizing, and question answering with sources. And each of these modules have their own classes. So load QA chain. So I will be showing those things. That is what I was explaining in the presentation. So these things I was explaining, it is under Langchain.chains. Each and every module has different submodules. So that is what we are going to take a look right now. Okay. This is initially when you look at it, this is extremely confusing. Okay. How many chains, different chains are there, how different ways to approach, do the same thing is available. Only when you explore, whichever way is more feasible for you, you can use that. Okay. I'm just giving you the ways available and you can choose it. Sometimes what will happen is one of the ways may not work because of some issue. You can use the other method. So that is what I'm trying, that is the purpose of, sharing all this information. If you look at it, you see here that we are using the load QA chain command here, and we are trying to create the fact LLM. This is the language model that I initiated at the beginning using OpenAI temperature equal to 0 and the chain type stuff. Again, just a minute, let me go back to the Internet Explorer. So as I was explaining, let me re-explain. This time I am importing from langchain.chains.question answering, import load underscore QA chain. And inside load underscore QA chain, here is what I was explaining just a moment back. That load underscore QA chain fact LLM. This is the language model that we created using OpenAI class. And then we use chain type stuff. So if you look at the PDF here, the stuff that I was talking about, this is the stuff that the same thing that we are importing again. Let us go back to the browser. And after I do this, again, I'm starting the query. Okay. So the process remains same. And in the query, when I'm running, I am actually giving the docs. So in this case, in the earlier case, we gave the docs here. Okay. Now we are giving the docs at a different location. So this is the process which is different between both the modules. Okay. And as you practice, as you start working with the prompt also, so what is the money spent on room service gave me 28, but when I asked what is the total money spent on room service gave me 32. Okay. And it was only looking at first 4 rows of the data. It was not looking at the entire data. So the prompt has to be clear, or else the answer will be also not perfect. Okay. So this is how we have to experiment. And as I was experimenting further, there is a way to get the intermediate data also. So what we can do is we can ask for map reduce chain. So I am using the load QA chain and I am actually batching the data that goes in. Okay, when you are creating the OpenAI module, when you are creating the OpenAI object, you can say batch. So I was explaining in the beginning that you can, just a minute, you can change the temperature, you can change the model, you can change the max iteration. There you can give the batch size also. So that is what I have given here. And then I have loaded the QA chain, and in the QA chain I have taken MapReduce. And once I use MapReduce, once I give the query, so the query here is here. This is how the query is given along with the docs. The docs is based on the okay, let me actually split it a bit so that you will be able to understand. I have created the I have created the batch LLM object. I have created the QA MapReduce chain here using load QA chain method. Then I am creating the query. After that, I am using the similarity. I am finding the similarity of this query. So I had showed you up how to find the similarity, and then I am only taking those documents and I am sending it to this particular query. Okay. In the similarity, if I have only 4 documents, only the 4 documents will be seen. It will not see all the documents. Rest of the documents it will not see. So here only 4 documents is coming. In case instead of this, if I take 10 documents, okay, and I am going to ask the same question right now. I am going to execute this. I am going to ask for 10 documents. Let us see how the result comes. So now it is again querying, and it is going to query on 10 documents. And if you come down, it is taking all these documents and it is listing me all the names. So this is the difference. So the point I am trying to make here is that understanding how each and every method works by experimenting with it is the first and foremost step. And that is how the QA chain works. Okay, so I have given further examples of QA chain using refine here. Okay, and map re-rank here. You can experiment with that. And next comes the QA chain with sources. The QA chain with sources will provide the answer with the source location. So it will give the source location like this, and also it will give the answer. Also, it will depend on the number of queries. Keep this in mind that it will take only by default 4. So if you look at the help, you will see that by default it will take only 4. Just give me a moment. So here you see that number of results to return. So it is defaults to 4. If you change this, if you say k equal to 10, k equal to 20, based on that, it will look at your document and it will give the reply. So why this is important? Let us go back to the account page. Why this is important is the data that you send into the LLM in OpenAI API has to be properly taken care, or else the number of requests, the number of prompts that goes in will become huge. Okay, here if you send say 15 lines, the number of tokens will be 10,000, or else it will be 20,000 also. So like that, you have to be careful what you are sending in. So keep this in mind when you are working this Langchain model. It becomes so easy to prompt that we forget that how much we are prompting, how much tokens we are using. Okay, and there is a separate module to check the tokens also. I will share that in the next video. And okay, now that is how we have worked till on the Langchain QA chain. There is also one more way to, there is also another way to load the file. Another way to load the file is that we use the text splitter. So at the text splitter is the earlier method I had shown you. Okay, and once we do the text splitting, we can actually store and we can check the documents also. So here, whatever we are seeing, these documents, let me actually show you right now. Just a minute. So when we do the text split, what happens is print text. If I do that, you'll see that I will get a single list, right? I am getting the single list. Here, what I am doing, I am actually importing a new class called as document. And in the new class called document, I am telling I need to create a document where the page content equal to t, where t for t in text equal to 1 to 3. When I execute this, okay, let me execute this, and it is already executed. And if I take a look at the docs right now, So what would have happened is it would have created documents separately. Okay, the way it has created the documents is totally different from what we think. You might be thinking, okay, in text, when I say text up to 3, it will only take 1, 2, 3. Actually, no. What happens is that when we are going to use this kind of an object and we are going to send t into that, this document does a different activity on the file, on this file. So this is something that you need to realize, that if you are aware of, so let me show you this also, because disintegrating the Python objects like this and taking a look at it is more important. So you see here, we are seeing the entire text. You are seeing the entire text. And if I take a look at one text, just one text. So let us see only one text, how it looks. Okay, it is giving an index out of range error. Why is that? Let me check why is that. And because it's a list, so I cannot do it that way. Because it's a list, I cannot do it that way. I have to use this way of indexing. So this is how the entire text has been split. The major point I want to make is that understanding this, what is there inside this particular function and how it is getting created, this is called as list comprehension. Usually we don't come across this. If you are a beginner, you may not come across this. However, if you want to take a look at this particular keyword outside, you will get a fair idea. In the search, if you search for it, you will get a fair idea. Here, what we are doing is we are doing basically a for loop run using this text list object. Okay, I just want to show you what is going on here. That is the intention of it. And once the document is created, we are going to summarize the document. So we know how the data set is, right? We have already seen how the data set, and I am using load summarize chain, and I am using the batch LLM, the object that I created at the top, and I am map reducing it. And once I do that, you see that the entire data set has been summarized, that it contains 12 passengers traveling and what are the various details. So it directly comes there. And if I ask for more intermediate data, so it will actually tell, okay, what it found, intermediate step, what it found, and then finally what was reduced. So you can see that initially the data was more, and since the map reduce was used, so the data was further compressed. Like this, you can get more information when you use return only outputs equal to true, and here you say return intermediate steps equal to true. So these two things you have to add. So in this previous one, you don't have that. So here you added it. In the same way, you can experiment with refine also. So refine actually refines it in a different way. Finally, this is another way. So you see that one document, I am taking one document and we can do so much. Okay. And why this much power is required? Because when you are analyzing your document, right, going through this routine, when you are analyzing it for the first time, it could be any of your documents that you want to automate to analyze. It could be the document that you get it from the internet. It could be a stock market document. It could be your branch office sales report, or it could be an ERP document that you are downloading from your SAP. Whatever it is, you have to first send it through the Langchain library and ChatGPT for a couple of times and analyze the data that is coming out. Then only you can automate. If you do it manually without thinking, if you expect, okay, it is going to give you a proper output, it is not going to do that. You have to still do certain level of work and understand how these methods are working. That is why I'm going through each of these methods and explaining it to you. Finally, analyzing this document is combining the load summarize object, and it is using it under the analyze document chain. What this does is, this actually, it does not query. It by default analyzes and simply gives the result as a summary, 2-line summary it provides. Next comes the graph indexer. In the graph indexer, we will be getting graphs like this. So each and every data that is provided, so it will become into separate graph tuple like this, and then we can analyze it separately. So we can create graphs, knowledge graphs using this particular object that we are creating here. And then we can also store that as graph file. So space underscore graph ml. So I have stored the file here. You can store that file and share it also. So that is how you work with graph entities. So we have come to the end of this particular presentation. We have seen how to work with various methods in Langchain.chains module, and we have seen how to load summarize chain, analyze document chain, load QA chain, load QA sources chain, graph QA chain, and this chat vector DB chain I will be taking as a separate video because that has more information to be discussed. So I have kept it as a separate video, and the example book also will be shared with you. So I hope you liked this video. So do leave a like, and if you have any comments, do leave the comment in the comment section. Subscribe to my channel. Once I upload any new videos, you will get the notification in your YouTube dashboard. So you will be updated with the new ideas that I am sharing. And you also share your ideas so that I can try to implement them and check it out. That will be also fun activity to do. But practice, guys. Prompt practice with new ideas. That is how we all learn, and we can understand how to maximize the potential of the Langchain as well as large language models. So with this, have a great time till the next video. I'll be uploading additional 1 or 2 videos on Langchain where I discuss about the different kind of utility chains and generic chains that I showed in the beginning of this video. I'll be looking into that. Stay tuned for that. It will be a fun video. There's a lot of things in that particular chain that we have to discuss because we will be connecting it with the internet, correct? So that is much more fun. So till then, guys, stay tuned and subscribe to my channel and have a great time. See you.